For the following exponential function, first graph the function, then give the domain and range and interval notation, and finally write the equation of the asymptote. So looking at our function, f of x equals 2 to the x plus 3 plus 1, the things that I would notice here just from the start, the plus 1, since it's not in the exponent, that's a vertical shift. And any vertical shift just moves our entire graph up that many units. So everything's going to move up 1 unit. This plus 3 inside the exponent, that's going to be a horizontal shift. And so it's just going to move everything in our graph left or right, whatever this value is. Now, the base graph of an exponential has a horizontal asymptote at y equals x, and then there's this point that we pass through 1 unit above the asymptote, where the graph changes from growing very slowly to growing very rapidly. Now, if you have a vertical shift, everything moves up 1 unit, or however many units that vertical shift is. In this case, because it's 1, everything will move up 1 unit, including the asymptote. And that's a great place to begin with these problems. All right, now a horizontal shift, what that's going to do is take the point that would have been 1 unit above the asymptote and shifts it 3 units, and in this case it's going to go to the left because horizontal shifts go in the opposite direction of their sign. So that's going to go to this point right here, which is now at -3, 2, instead of at 1, 0. And the remaining graph, because this is a base 2 exponential, we would go to the right 1 and up 1 to get another point, and that just helps us judge how quickly it's going to infinity. So we just sort of pass through that point going to positive infinity, and then on the other side we just approach the asymptote. And this is a perfectly fine sketch of our exponential function. Now, the next thing that's being asked is the domain and range. The domain and range are generally pretty easy for an exponential, especially if you've already taken the time to just even quickly sketch a graph. First off, the exponential functions are defined everywhere. So you could really just memorize that the domain of an exponential is all real numbers, negative infinity to positive infinity. The range is just starting from the asymptote, but not including it, and then going to positive infinity. So just the only part where the function is defined. Lastly, the equation of the asymptote, because it's a horizontal line, and all horizontal lines have the equation form of y equals some constant, it's just going to be y equals whatever y value we pass through. So that's at +1, which is the same thing as our vertical shift. So just y equals the vertical shift, really.